Our next speaker is Dr. Jesse Patrick Turney, Central Connecticut State University Professor of Reading and Language Arts and Director of the Literacy Center. He is a passionate teacher, researcher, and a strong advocate for community service and partnerships. His areas of expertise and research include diagnosis of reading difficulties and remedial corrective techniques in family literacy. He has been actively involved in university, school, and community partnerships, such as the New Britain Public Schools, New Britain Youth Alliance, and Literacy Volunteers of America. He is a founding member of the Save Our Schools March organization. He has demonstrated leadership positions in professional organizations such as serving as Vice President of the Phi Delta Kappa Central Connecticut State University Chapter, President of the School of Education and Professional Studies Faculty Governance Council, and member of the Connecticut State Department of Education Grades 4 to 12 Task Force in Content Area Literacy. Dr. Turner has numerous peer-reviewed publications and is the Associate Editor for the New England Reading Journal. Please welcome Dr. Jesse Turner.
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me here. Being up on the mountain is pretty beautiful. As I took that ride around there, I said, wow. And I gave a quick call to my wife. I know I'm not supposed to do that while I'm driving. And I said, honey, you should check the real estate prices in this area, because this looks nice. Anyway, I'd like to say thank you again, and to the school, to the parents that organized this, and for you for coming. So I'd like to get us a little bit deeper into things. It's not just a Common Core. It's a massive takeover of local education that's going on. And the takeover is happening not for the betterment, but because we're talking about, in any given year, probably $1 trillion profit potential. That's what we're spending every year to educate our children. So I want to look a little over here. So if we think about it, I say, Common Core, state standards, more toxic alphabet soup. My mother used to make this really good lamb stew, but I was too stupid and young to understand how good it was. And I'd say, Mom, why can't you give me some of that, Campbell's soup, alphabet soup? And she'd make it for me, and she'd say, this stuff is going to kill you. No. That's what she'd say. But to get me to eat it, and of course today I wish I could have that lamb stew, because she's not with us. But we have No Child, an NCLB. We have a Race to the Top, RTTT. We have a Common Core state standards. We got an SBAC, we got a PARC. We got an alphabet soup for everyone. And you know when you keep changing the alphabet? It's because people are getting smart, and you change things a little. You say, well, no, we're not talking about that No Child Left Behind, that allocation of $1.2 billion. No, we're not talking about that now. We're talking about Race to the Top. Doesn't that sound good? And then when you start questioning that, they say, no, we're talking about the Common Core. No, we're not talking about the Common Core. We're talking about SBAC. No, we're talking about PARC. No scam when you hear an alphabet soups are scams. So we think, and I say, is this really the best we can do? This is the nation that no nation can even come close to the amount of Nobel Science Prize winners we have. We're chasing China. China has none. Okay? And patents, we produce more patents than any other nation in the world. No China, not Britain, not Germany, no other nation in the world does it. You want to judge our schools? Judge us by those things, because, you know what's funny? Chinese educators, administrators have stayed in my home. Do you know why? They come to Connecticut. They come to all schools across this country, and they keep saying, what's the secret formula? Because they're not looking at test scores. They may focus on test scores in their education system, but they're saying, how do you get those Nobel Prize winners? How do you get so many patents? And we're catching up on some patents, but our patents are really for small, insignificant things. You got patents for iPhones, you got patents for computers, you got major patents. We don't have any of those. But no one comes close. And is it the best we can do? Well, it's funny. When the Chinese, I would host some Chinese administrators, I've been to China twice as well. The Chinese invited me over, said, hey, come on over, we want to hear what you have to say. And I went over and I've seen Chinese schools, they've come over here, and it's kind of interesting. When they first come, they're trying to move away from a system that's rooted in standardized testing. They look at the American school system and say, you're innovative and you're creative, and this diversity that you have, the strength that you have, and the education of your children produces world leaders. We don't have that. We get our engineers from America, we get our engineers from Britain, we get our engineers from France, we get them from Germany, we import them. And so we think about that piece, this is the best. And the other thing is, if it was the best, and assessment is my area, the worst measure, the measure that tells you the least about a child, is a standardized test. It's not that they're not important. The purpose is not to inform you about the child. The purpose of those assessments is to say, this child falls in a scope of somewhere below average or above average. That's it. Look and compare to a large group, it can't tell you whether your child can read, can't tell you whether your child can decode, is fluent, can't tell you any of that stuff. And what it does, it's used to screen kids, it's used to get people services, it's used to measure schools, states, nations. So when the focus of education becomes standardized measure for children, and people start telling us like SBAC, this is going to drive instruction, I'll tell you today, right now, that is a lie. That kind of assessment cannot drive instruction. The kind of assessment that drives instruction is formative assessment. That's what teachers did for you. They took quizzes, they took your homework, they listened to you answer questions, they gave you tests, they did all that. That's formative assessment. The teacher could change it on a dime. She could also tell, or he could tell, if you had a bad day, if there was a fire in your home last night, if you lost your brother, your mother, your father, or someone was serving overseas and you were concerned. They knew all of that. And they could adapt the instruction. You think I'm going to trust a computer to do that? Not me. I like computers. I'm a little tech geek. I got my little iPhone in the bag. I got an iPad. I love it all. But, you know,